What up, guys? Thank you for joining. It has been a great week. Well, I hope all of you had a great week. And yeah, for this week, where I'm going to um, go over the macro stuff as usual, then chart BTC, ETH, and Sol, look at some alts and whatnot, and give you as well my thoughts on um, well, I have a thesis on the meme coins and all that stuff, and the future of meme coins, and I kind of want to share my thoughts on that with you guys today. And yeah, so today is gonna be a pretty interesting stream. Let's get started. So first things first, let's go over the macro stuff. We had one, inflation is still a problem, and it's even a bigger problem now, and I'll get to that. The GDP looked, I think the US GDP came in a bit higher than the forecast, so it looked good on paper. The consumer spending and private demand underneath that were softer than the headline made it look. So technically, like, the economy is still on the not didn't break. I'm not gonna say the economy broke, um, but the quality of growth is getting worse, right? So when you have that type of situation, it's actually a bad combo, and it keeps the Fed locked in. So more than likely, we aren't going to get a rate hike or a rate cut. If I had to predict, FOMC, which is going to be 1 month from now, we're going to keep rates the same. Okay. Now, in terms of like looking at, well, we had Micron, they crushed their numbers and they locked in like huge future chip demand. Um, but as well, a lot of equity sold off. And I know it's summer season and all that stuff. So it kind of tells you that people are no longer buying this AI story, or they feel like it's just getting too expensive. And it's kind of ironic because people, what do you call it? People actually, I don't know how to word it. It's just like when SpaceX launched, people woke up. The traders woke up and said, hey, this is getting ridiculous. This is getting too expensive. This is, the revenue's not matching and all that stuff. It's kind of similar to the dot com bubble, right? But there's a difference between this and the dot com bubble. In the dot com bubble, they actually didn't have proper revenue. The revenues were horrendous. Some of them didn't even have revenue. Whereas here, they do have revenue and it is making money, but they're overvalued. Like, for example, you got OpenAI and Anthropic, their market caps is matching close to Amazon's, but they have 10% of the revenue. So a lot of these AI companies are actually playing the early Tesla game way back. So if anything, the rise in prices is more fueled by speculation rather than value, right? Um, so a lot of now people are saying, are the mindset is shifting, are we paying too much for this stuff, right? And when the good news starts coming out, like, Micron was phenomenal news, and it stops pushing the winners higher, that's actually like a telltale sign for you guys, like, hey, this is kind of not great right now, right? The other thing that was really interesting, that caught us by surprise and everything, and even I was surprised by it, I think everyone was surprised by it, that AI is no longer, well, I don't want to say no longer, but it's not lifting stock prices anymore. It's lifting real world prices. And the next inflation that we're seeing is actually coming onto tech hardware, not just oil. And the chip inflation that we're seeing is becoming consumer inflation. And a lot of people are not taking that in, right? So what did we see this week? Apple raises prices, Microsoft raised their prices, fucking Lenovo raised their prices. Even Lenovo said we're not going to see the prices that we saw till like 2030 possibly. So they're expecting these prices to stick for the next 4 to 5 years. And what I think is, in the next 4 to 5 years, if these prices stay the same, we're not gonna see them again. They're not gonna come back down. Why the fuck would they come back down? It's just like COVID, right? If I'm a business and I was selling you something for like $5 before, and then COVID happened, now I'm charging you $10, and COVID's gone, I'm not dropping it back to five. You got used to paying 10, you're gonna continue paying 10. So right now, a lot of people are not taking in that we're seeing a tech inflation happening right in front of us, and the big corporations already came out and said it. Like Apple, they said we're increasing the prices by like 20% give or take, but that's just the base model. Go look if you want to upgrade the RAM to the max level, and look at that price difference. It's much more than 20%. This is another thing that we're actually not taking into account. So now the chip inflation, the AI inflation has officially hit the consumer. And this is a red flag, big red flag, right? So this is something, in my opinion, I think the equities market over the next like few months might go more towards the risk off type of mood just because of that. It wasn't like there was a panic. Um, it was more of a quality test, seeing how the market's most crowded winners are doing. I read I I read somewhere on X there was a really interesting stat that in the S&P, not even 20% of the companies on the S&P are in profit. I mean, like, when I mean in profit, I mean like price, stock price. Um, the majority of the companies on the S&P are actually down year to date, and they're in their own bear market. But no one's paying attention to them because we're solely focused on like 10, 20 companies only, right? Or a handful of them, and they're doing really, really well. They're having their own bull market, but the majority of equities is actually having a bear market, and no one's really talking about it, right? So I'm just having a drink right now. So that's what you have to pay attention to in terms of macro, in terms of like equities. That inflation has pretty much hit AI, and it's hitting us, and it's not that great. It's not that great because if, like ironically I was just gonna go buy a laptop, and I'm like, fuck, do I really need this laptop now? Do I really want it? I have to pay now like 1,500 more than I wanted to pay. But fuck it, it is what it is. The economy will be the economy. All right. So let's look at what's been happening in crypto. In crypto, you guys see the attention is on Europe. You got Binance. They took a serious licensing hit. Not great. And some of these countries are like Spain is not giving a deadline extension on their license. The Mika license, they're not giving them an extension. The Euro stablecoin got a green light, and the Bank of England softened their stablecoin rules. So, as I said, guys, for the last like month and a half, the main infrastructure that we're seeing in crypto is around stablecoins. This is what's being built, right? They're not building um, for you to use your fucking uh, XRP to fucking wire money. They're not. For example, that whole I only use XRP as an example is because they've been running the whole Swift code narrative for fucking 8 years now, and so that just came off right top of my head. But yeah, that's what's going on. A lot of the crypto focus right now is on Europe, right? Um, so I think in July, I think that's when they really push for their own stable coin, right? So what do we have here in terms to look forward to? Let me pull up the data or the calendar. Because we have the monthly close happening, by the way, this Tuesday. So what do we have next week? We have the unemployment, which they are expecting to stay the same. Okay. And they expect, okay, let's see how it goes. There's not really anything important to that will like hurt us or cause volatility, but we do have what do you call it? A speech from the Fed chairman Kevin Warsh, so we want to pay attention to that. And it's not about only what he says, but it's going to be important to know his tone, right? So remember, guys, when I ran the data for us, it always said if you look at the CME Fed Watch, you can, I think it was 80 to 90% accuracy 1 month before FOMC, it happens. So the next FOMC is literally July 29 or June 28th, so we're pretty much a month before the next FOMC. And it's showing that we're not getting a rate cut or a rate hike. So more than likely, we're gonna have the same rates. No, nothing's gonna change for the month of July, but they are looking that in the next 12 months, one or two more hikes for the Fed. This is something to pay attention to. And even for the Bank of Japan, one or two more hikes. Those are the main two you really, really want to pay attention to. Because Bank of Canada, for example, they just copy America. Whatever America does, they copy. They're like the retarded stepbrother, right? So we got that. We want to again, we want to pay attention to what he's saying and how he is saying it. That's going to be really, really important. Um, what else is there coming up this week? Let me 1 second here. Go back to the chart. It's well, we have the job numbers as I mentioned to you guys right here. So this is gonna be really important. We want to keep an eye on the job numbers and see what's happening. This is gonna be on Thursday. Um, so again, when it comes to jobs, the Fed really looks at the job numbers. If the jobs stay hot, rate cut dreams stay weak. Really. If the labor finally cools, the market gets some breathing space. So on Thursday, those numbers are gonna matter, right? And as well, you would want to pay attention to the bond yields and what's going to happen here. So as I said, I have one watch list that's just filled with like macro stuff that I always keep an eye on, just a quick glance, whatever. And keep an eye on the bond yields will be nice. All right. So in terms of crypto, on June 30th, you want that's the Mika deadline, the European deadline, whatever. Kraken is good. See, Kraken flaunted on Binance, said, "Hey, you guys suck, but we have our license and we're gonna operate in Europe." And Binance like, "Fuck," you know. So June 30th is the deadline. 2 more days, and if Binance gets removed out of Europe, that is not great news to be honest. Because Binance, unfortunately, I know many of you don't like it. It is still the top exchange in crypto. In terms of volume, open interest, and all of that stuff. All right. So it was pretty boring in terms of macro. Nothing really crazy. That's pretty much what happened. But aside from that, before I go into charting, you know, as you guys, I know a lot of you guys pay attention to CT and what's going on in CT, especially, um, what do you call it? Like the trenches, the meme coins, and all that type of stuff. Now, I'm not someone that's against meme coins. I love to play the meme coin game, the on-chain game, and whatnot. It's so much fun because you actually get to use the tech that crypto has built, um, and you get to feel like you're actually doing something in crypto, right? Um, but the truth is, this is my thesis on meme coins for next cycle. As I said, I think the meme coin sector will still be around, but there will be diminishing returns. We're gonna have more meme coins going between like 1 million to under a billion than last cycle, but we're probably gonna have a lot less coins hitting a billion and over from pump fund. Now, the issue that's happening is people like retail don't want to, like a lot of retail don't want to touch um meme coins anymore. Like I've spoken to non-crypto native people and all that stuff. Everyone's just tired of getting burnt, getting rugged, right? Like imagine you are in your sleep, you bought a solid meme coin, solid idea and everything. You wake up and the Nigerian dev fucking rugged you and you can't do shit. Even if you sell, you're gonna walk out with like $5. This is exactly the issue that happened in 2021 with like NFTs, right? NFTs rugged and people sleep. And the thing about NFTs, there wasn't even a liquidity pool. So when you got rugged, you couldn't even sell for the loss that you had and move on. You just had a fucking useless fucking PFP of some retarded shit, right? That you thought was gonna be the next board apes. This is exactly what the meme coin sector is going through right now. Now, what's going to happen in my opinion, is a lot of the volume is going to shift from meme coins. A lot of the people like to copy trade, right? And meme coins, you can't really be a profitable copy trader unless you are an insider. And I'll talk to that because a lot of these coins are not even held for a minute. The guy that you're copy trading is buying it and selling it all within a minute. That's a big issue. So there's no belief. The other thing is, aside from people using their followers for exit liquidity when it comes to copy trading, you got the issue of bundling, and you got the issue of vamps, and you got the issue of fake launches or copy launches, and all that type of shit happening. That needs to go away. Honestly, for meme coins to grow, this needs to go away. And honestly, this is our fault. It's not Pump Fund's fault. It's not Solana Foundation's fault or anyone's fault. This is the user's fault. Is that we haven't actually held those people accountable for all those things, right? And just continuously call them out, and then stop buying the shit that they're launching or bundling and whatnot, and telling them to fuck off, right? Not giving them a space anymore, but instead we as a community we have rewarded these bundlers and vamps and whatnot by following them, by engaging with them, by not calling them out and then praising them and calling them based for rugging fuck millions and millions and millions of dollars off people. So this is our fault as a community, as an industry. This is our fault. This is the reality of it. And and what that does to the person that's not in the industry but is a tourist, you know, because these tourists show up in the bull markets, right? And then they get burnt and and then show up again in the next bull market. But to the tourist, we're all one. They can't differentiate between you and the bundler. They've only associated with the bundler and made up their mind that everyone that's in crypto is exactly like that person that stole all my money and fucked off. Now, when you bundle and rug, you're technically stealing. You're not trading. You're not a trader. You're stealing. This is the reality of it. And these people are robbing people in broad daylight and getting away with it. So, what is going to happen? I like the idea of FOMO, but the problem with FOMO is the bundlers figured out a way to play with it. They would create their profile, hold the coin, and just keep buying $20 worth on their main profile. Literally $20 worth. You can check it out. 2020 to send a notification to your phone. Be like, oh, this guy bought, and they don't check how much you bought. They see your thesis, they see that you bought, and they buy, and then they dump on the side wallet. That's not on FOMO. That's the other issue, right? Now, where are those people going to go? Where are those tourists going to go? A lot of the money is now shifting to Polymarket and Kalshi. If you guys don't believe me, I'm going to pull out 1 second for you guys here. I want to show you guys something. This is their revenue. See this volume? This is 30-day. See, this is since the launch, and Pump Fund has done $91 billion in volume since launch. This is two almost two what do you call it? 2 years worth of volume. 2 years worth of volume. They have done 90 billion. All right, but now their volume is the lowest it's ever been. Do you guys know how much volume Polymarket has done in the last year? 33 billion. 33 billion. Kalshi did 43 billion. Those two combined, like those two prediction markets, has already in the last year gained almost the same amount of volume has Pump Fund done in its whole entire existence. Right? In one quarter, in one single quarter, prediction markets did $36 billion in volume. That's not a niche anymore. That's a category that's eating away from meme coins and will continue to eat the volume away from meme coins. Here's the difference. On Polymarket, on Kalshi, when you lose because of a real life outcome didn't go your way. Either the election broke the other way, the team that you bet on lost, the Fed didn't cut their rates. You were wrong about the world. The world was your counterparty. Nobody minted a fake version of the election and dumped it on you from a side wallet. That's the difference. That's why retail is going to prediction markets and other things, is because they're sick of seeing bundles happen. They don't know how to read the chain. They don't know how to read all that shit. They don't know how to understand the data that we understand. But they know they're being robbed. They don't mind losing. They just want to lose in a fair way. So this is why prediction markets is taking volume away slowly and slowly and slowly away from meme coins. And it's going to continue taking attention away from meme coins, right? And while all of that is happening, the meme coin supply is going to increase. And when a casino supply keeps increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing, it will start paying less and less and less per spin. So Pump Fund has a lot of things they need to fix. That's why they hired the legal guy. In my opinion, Pump Fund needs to come down with the fucking hammer on these people. They need to come down with the hammer. One, fix the liquidity pool bullshit. The liquidity pool fucking sucks, right? Like, for example, You got the Handsome coin is the new coin that they bundled, right? One almost 1%, just like literally 100 million market cap. Let's say, and $1 million liquidity. Who the fuck can fucking exit? You got 1%. 1%. Come on, that's not great. 1%, not great. Whereas the liquidity and whatnot on Polymarket and Kalshi for a lot of the shit is not a fucking problem. You're getting paid regardless of what the outcome is. You bought yes tokens or yes on whatever at 20 cents. That's it. And let's say when it closes, it's at close at $1, you're gonna get paid for that. That's it. Very simple. It's a very simple concept to understand. And at the same time, I'm not gonna pretend prediction markets are some fair utopia. They're not. But at the same time, they are arresting insiders. For example, there's a soldier in the US Army who bet 400K on Polymarket for on the Venezuela outcome, and he had inside info on. They arrested him. They fined him. They they put him in jail, all that stuff. So there is someone watching. There is a cop that's holding people accountable to prevent insider trading, right? It's it's not perfect, but something is there to hold people accountable from insider trading, right? There's enforcement. Now tell me what happens to a dev who bundles 60% of the supply and rocked 4,000 people. Nothing. He opens a fresh wallet and launches the next one by Friday and then rugs another 4,000 people. So there's a real difference. It was like between the two. It was never fair versus unfair. It's there's accountability versus there isn't. Whereas prediction markets have a real world anchor and a relegator, the trenches don't have neither, right? This is the problem. This is literally the problem. So if I was Pump Fund, I would fix the liquidity pool. I'll fix the whole vamping and all that shit that's happening and the fake launches and all that crap. But at the same time, I'll start banning wallets of developers that have been continuously bundling and rugging people, and anyone that is associated with that wallet will get banned. And slowly, Pump Fund will stop being the place that rugs people. As a start, it'll be heavy, it'll be hard. They will be ruthless, but they need to be their own relegator before they get relegated. They need to be their own cop before there's cops forced inside of them, right? So this is the problem between meme coins right now and the future of meme coins and what's new that's coming up, which is prediction markets. And in prediction markets, there is actual alpha in copy betting. There's a lot of people that don't know shit about betting, but they're just copy betting and they're actually making money. But you can't copy trade on the trenches. You're fucked. You're the exit liquidity if you copy trade. Unless you're part of the cabal where on a certain project where you guys are bundling and all that shit. But this is the reality of it. The other thing that's gonna take over meme coins is AI agent tokens, and we're seeing it now. You got VVV, okay. You got virtuals, okay. You got render, okay. These are all good projects that will slowly take away attention from meme coins, right? So VVV is infrastructure where you can make an AI agent. Same as virtuals. And virtuals had a pump fund style launchpad, but for AI tokens. You got Tau as well, which is like an AI infrastructure bet for subnets and whatnot. Now, you got Render. which is for renting GPUs. Because now look, render is actually something you should have on your watch list. Why? We just got the hint right now. There is an AI hardware inflation happening. Now, people can't afford RAM. It's too expensive. People can't afford GPUs. It's too expensive. Where the fuck are they gonna go when they need to render something? No pun intended. They're gonna go to the render. Literally, we have a project in crypto where you can rent fucking GPUs to for your own work instead of buying an expensive GPU that you can't afford. So those two things are gonna take mind share from meme coins because we as human beings should not, ironically, Pump Fund was made to give us freedom to launch whatever we want. But I'm in the boat where freedom needs to be earned. You can't. Not everyone should have the equal amount. Not everyone should have equal amount of freedom. Freedom needs to be earned. Like you can't expect a businessman to have the same amount of freedom as a murderer, right? It doesn't make sense, right? And it's the same thing with us. When you give humans too much freedom, you're gonna have a small percentage of bad apples that's going to ruin that. And Pump Fund kind of like gave everyone the freedom to create useless tokens, and look what we did with it. We raped each other. We raped each other. We used each other as exit liquidity and all of that stuff. I'm not calling for the death of meme coins. I'm not. They're not gonna go anywhere. This segment will be here for a long time. But the trenches will always be the trenches, and there'll always be someone knife fighting you at 3 a.m. because of it. So, again, if we want to fix meme coins, it's gonna be more on us, right? You guys, people are not thinking about, well, people are not thinking about the people that are leaving, every person like who got rugged, and walks to a venue where the downside is a real outcome, and like it's crazy. It's really crazy. This is pretty much when we're seeing the trenches go down. This is the market voting. This is the market telling you this is not working anymore. Just like NFTs. Look at the NFT pump in 2022. It was an exit liquidity pump. It didn't pump like 2021, but that was the last time we ever saw NFTs pump ever, 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 ever. So if we want the trenches back and we want fresh blood and we want the next wave to give crypto a real shot instead of, you know, writing us off as all of us being bundlers and scammers the way they wrote off NFTs, then the answer is boring and it's old, but it's very simple. Be the change that you want to see. We have to stop shilling bundles and we need to call them out when you see them. And we need to check wallet concentration before you ape. And if you're launching something, launch it like you want it to be here in a year. But bundling 50% or more of the supply across 100 wallets while people tweet 1 billion market cap targets and sell from your side wallet, that will always put an expiration date on the idea that we the idea of meme coins. And guess what? It is showing up now. That expiration date is showing up. So those are my thoughts um on meme coins, really. So now, well, not just meme coins, but the meme coin industry, the direction of meme coins and pump fund and all that stuff. So I've been working on a Substack on this idea, um, and whatnot. So I'm still writing it up. But yeah, let's get to charting. 1 second. One second. First time ever I had two people like post ads in my Kick channel. First time. Um, let me. Okay, so let's look at some BTC. BTC is printing a lower low on the weekly. The trend is still continuing. This was the last higher low we printed, then lower low, then lower low. So yeah, the if we're probably due for some early July pump, but um one thing we gotta understand, tomorrow we're gonna have a serious Mercury retrograde up until late July. Give me 1 second, guys. Be right back. 1 second. All right, I'm back, guys. I'm back. So BTC weekly is printing a lower low. Okay, let me bring out my tools. What do we need? One, we need to get above this. We need to get above this high still. For it to be somewhat higher time frame bullish, right? If we'll be printing like a higher high, like so to get like above 83K is really important for the weekly to turn bullish. But we may, because we printed this lower low and we did have a bull divergence that really didn't do shit, um, and the momentum is really like starting to shrink on the awesome oscillator for like the sell side. Maybe at the start of July, start of the month, we got somewhat of a pump, but I don't know if it's going to be as big as we expect it to be. I don't know if even we'll reach 70K because we're actually pretty comfortable breaking the 60K now. Like if you guys realize this price action, like let's go down to the 1 hour and really look at it, what we're seeing. This is we're actually getting very comfortable with the idea of going below 60K now. We did not hold 67K mid June, sorry. And as I said, look, this was mid month, start of the month. Well, the thing is, this was the start of the month. This is what killed us. The whole thesis was this fucking initial dump, the first 5 days, and then we pumped. We didn't even get close to the monthly open, which we all expected. But now we're going there. The other thing that's important to note is we are losing monthly support. This was the last, like I spoke about this last year to you guys. This is my line in the sand, right? We are closing below the 50 EMA. Looks like we're going to the 100, honestly, which is 40K. And if we reach below 40, I said to you guys, it's better to start laddering your bids between 25 to 45K because We don't know how deep we're gonna go. Even I can't tell you where we're gonna bottom. All I know is these are the possible outcomes, right? I don't know how fucked Sailor is. I don't know, but we're losing the monthly support. That's what we should know. And we're gonna close for the first time below the 200 moving average this whole cycle, right? So if anything, we may dump to like 50, low 50s, and then try to pull a retest onto the 60K at the start of July. Maybe we go down a little bit here, and then we get a little retest over here, and then we chop. But shit is not sweet, and I don't think we bottomed at all. Doesn't look like a bottom. Doesn't look like a doesn't look like a higher time frame bottom. Yeah, if we want to save this, we need to reclaim 65K within the next 2.5 days, which I don't think is gonna happen. Okay, so going back to the weekly, we need to get above 80. Well, this high over here. Why? One, would print a higher high, number one. Number two, would have reclaimed the 50s and 34 and the 200s and all that shit, and things will look sweet, but that's not the case. Okay, and even see the 83 is where the 300 and 200s for the 3-day is. Even the 3-day looks like it's about to go down. It's the thing is, this is a real test of our patience. This is a real test of our patience. Like, this trend was so obvious, and it's been a real test of our patience, because we thought every single thing will be a bottom and a bottom and a bottom. Not me, but like a lot of people, but it hasn't been. I've been pretty firm that I fully said it was around October 7th that we topped this bear dev right here on the 3-day. It just takes time. Look, the funny part is, I saw a friend at the gym the other day who I haven't seen in a while. He's a stock trader. Very good guy. Very great stock trader. And he even said, he's like, Mo, because he bought Bitcoin. He's like, you were right. I should have just listened to you and sold everything above 120. So we're going to go down. We're going lower. And it's going to go low. And it's going to shock people. And yeah, when you think your alt can't go any lower, watch it go lower. That's the main thing. It's going to go lower. And I'm looking at October, November, December as area, like the months where you should start really dollar cost averaging. I know some people are dollar cost averaging from now for the next 4 months. The question is, why are you dollar cost averaging on a downtrend? Like, you can, okay, you survived this, and now you're here. Now you're gonna dollar cost average this whole move, this whole area, when you can just wait for this bottom to form and start your dollar cost averaging from here. So then for the next 4 months, you're dollar cost averaging this, and you feel more comfortable that with every dollar cost average you're doing, your PNL is still in the green. Psychologically, you actually feel better. You're not panicking because you started at the bottom, and you're dollar cost averaging at the start of an accumulation period instead of, because honestly, I'll tell you guys, we can still drop 50% from here. There's always that possibility we can drop 50%. So you are potentially dollar cost averaging on a 50% drawdown. Potential 50% drawdown. That doesn't make sense to me. And by the way, this is coming from traders that are very successful, very great. They've been making amazing calls, but on this one, they're just showing a little bit of impatience, which is, in the long run, they'll do fine, but they're gonna experience a little bit of pain. All right. So when it comes to the 3 day, we really just fuck. Where do we even start? For the 3 day, you got here. There's a lot of resistance on the 67K. See here? That's where the daily I'd put it. As of this. Right? But over here is where I put the 3 day on this point of breakdown. 63K and a half. On the 4 hour, what I would want to see won't even go that far. I would like for us to claim 62K as a start, because that's where we actually broke down and started going lower than this low. So getting above here will open up to the daily, right? And honestly, the 12 hour and the 4 hour is not that much apart. So I'm not even gonna mark it 12 hour because it's the same area that I'm looking at. But yeah, these are the levels that I'm really looking at BTC, and it just makes sense to me. It makes sense. Like if we want to get bullish on a higher time frame, we need to reclaim this whole bearish rally that we have to the 83K. Yeah, it's always better to dollar cost average on an uptrend. You just buy the bullish pullback. Whereas imagine you're dollar cost averaging on a downtrend and you buy every fucking dip. Like, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that I posted about the Solana supply. Let me pull it out. Because he's not wrong. He's not wrong. This has happened many, many times before. He's not wrong. And Sol is not an exception. Unless they make some serious changes to the supply. Let me pull it out. So yeah, this tweet about the supply is actually real. Like there is a good chance, one, for Solana has infinite supply. The supply is not going to stop. Is it going to keep increasing forever? That's their max supply. Their total supply right now is 630 million. So their inflation has dropped to 3.78%. After this tweet, they're even thinking about reducing that inflation. this, like, you guys don't, the power of actually pushing a tweet like this, what is logical. And I explained it to you guys before. The It's not good enough to pay attention to price, but you need to pay attention to the supply. Now, think about this. Think about this. If Solana was to pump from the bottom of this bear market to the top of next cycle, and let's say pumped 300%, 400%, okay? And at the same time, Bitcoin pumped the same exact amount, okay? What is the more logical trade? Where should you put your money? Should you put your money? They're both giving you the same return. They're both giving you the same return. Should you put your money in Solana or in BTC in that scenario? They're both giving you the same return. You should be putting that money into BTC. Why? Because BTC dumps, Solana dumps. If Solana dumps, BTC can pump. BTC runs the crypto market. The crypto market is nothing without BTC, but we can get rid of Solana and the crypto market will still exist. There is actually less risk buying the BTC or buying BTC instead of Sol and getting the same return. Because when you're buying BTC, you're betting on the whole crypto industry to go up. When you're buying Solana, you're betting on Solana to go up. It's a difference. So if they're gonna give you the same return next cycle, you are actually better off buying Bitcoin. You should not be buying altcoins that are gonna underperform to BTC. You lost money. Your benchmark is always, what is BTC going to do? Where do you expect it to go? Is my altcoin going to outperform BTC? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you don't buy that fucking alt. It's very simple. Because then you underperformed the market. It's like you buying a stock and it underperforms the S&P. Why did you, or comes to the same performance as the S&P? Why did you take that risk? You should have just bought the S&P. Right? You should have just bought the S&P. You got a basket of 500 companies versus one company. The risk is way different. For the S&P to fail, you're betting on 500 companies to fail versus that one company, even though they give the same return. So it's the same scenario when it comes to crypto. If you're gonna buy Solana over BTC and they're gonna give the same return, you should always buy the BTC in that case, because the crypto industry is not gonna fail and it's gonna keep going up and has real institutional backing. Whereas Solana can fail or not do well or have issues, but the crypto industry will still move on because it's just one project, right? So you gotta understand that what that guy tweeted is probably correct, that Solana will not see its all-time high next cycle, and that is the third cycle curse. That is what we see with every large cap, and there is math backing it, and that is the emissions, the inflation, the supply overhang, the FTX tokens getting fully unlocked, and there's all these VCs getting the bros. These guys bought Solana at 2 cents, 1 cent, and they've been holding for fucking 8 years or so, and they're gonna get like all their shit continuously unlocked, and the supply is gonna keep increasing. Yeah, I mean, unless they figure out a new catalyst outside of pump fund, They're screwed. They're fucking screwed. And by the way, if it wasn't for Pump Fund, Solana would not have done well this cycle. Because Solana, the team itself, has not invented anything different. They have been like, I'm being honest. If they see a perp exchange launch, they're launching their own perp exchange. If they see something launches, they're doing it too. If they've not been the trendsetters for quite some time. It was Pump Fund that saved them because you need to buy Soul to actually trade on Pump Fund. So yeah, those are the things that need to change in Solana. Uh, and if it does change, Solana will do very well. But I don't think that's going to change because of the people behind it. All right. So we looked at this BTC levels. Let's look at some ETH levels. So ETH didn't. Damn. Right back. We're right back at the fucking lows of April. A year later. Look at this. A year later. And we're fucking back. Alright, let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I mean, this is way different. This is an actual bear trend. Like, if this was flipped around, we'll be fucking horny. We'll be like, this is the start of the giga uptrend, up only, blah blah blah. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case. I still think ETH will hit this, will break 1K slightly, come near the 2022 lows. It looks like it. Um, but yeah, let's see here what's going on. Since I have the weekly levels, I mean, the weekly still hasn't changed. We need to reclaim the 200s and the 300s, whatever. Print the higher high. 2.5K is needed for us to even have a bullish structure on ETH. Until 2.5K and the 200s and all that stuff, and we print the higher high and all that stuff, ETH doesn't have a bullish higher time frame structure. And damn. So yeah, we may see a July pump because we're at the monthly 200s and we're closing there. And we've never closed below the 200 EMA on the monthly for ETH. Let's see, 3 day. What did we have? Yeah, it's pretty much the same. 2080, 2090 for the 3 day, 2500 for the weekly. And for the daily, is yeah, we still need to get above 1850 on the daily to print a higher high to get above the 34 in the 50s and all that stuff. But it doesn't really seem like, I don't know, man. Are we really gonna get that weak of a pump in July and just chop like dickheads? Yeah, I don't know. Even then, let me move this 4 hour to 12 hour. 1713. Yeah, get above these wicks over here and these wicks over here and above the 50 EMA and the 34 EMA will be great. That will be a great start. But yeah, everything's been brutal. Brutal. I don't know how people are bull posting. Like, what are you bull posting for? Like, you really have to be a fucking dumbass. Or am I overthinking it? Like, I see, here's the thing. For the 4 hour, I want to get above this break over here, right? But at the same time, that means we reclaim the 50s and 34. But we probably can push it to 1633 on the 4 hour. Now let's look at it. Not gonna lie, that looks pretty clean for levels that we have to watch for. But ultimately, guys, if these levels are not reclaimed, I think uh, we got the 1060, 885 incoming. Ultimately, if these levels are not reclaimed, this is where you should be looking to start actually accumulating, in my opinion. All right, let's look at Soul. Remember how they said 150? Damn. Holy shit. Yeah, 9 months of red. It took them 9 months of red to finally start paying KOLs to tweet about them. And there is a bull divergence. Like Solana actually, momentum wise, looks better. So if I was trying to catch uh, a move on Solana, 1 second. So if I was trying to catch a move on Solana, let me mark the levels here. Because the weekly level didn't change. 106, 106, that's the support resistance level. What? I just got a notification. AI bubble could trigger a global financial crisis soon. Central bankers warn. Damn, that's pretty crazy. All right, let's look at the because a lot of these like look, Solana actually held the structure. That's what happens, you know. You got the whole exit liquidity movement happening. I will hold a while until it rugs, right? Once BTC rugs, Solana will rug. But at the moment, if we're expecting a bounce, you're better off looking to long things like Solana for the short term because it's holding a structure better than BTC. Like over here, you got the higher low on the daily, whereas ETH is printing a lower low, BTC a lower low, Sol is printing a higher low. Very simple stuff. Very, very simple. Um, but yeah, for let me move this up. I want this level to hold on the 4 hour, $66. And on the 12 hour, to be honest with you, see something here. Yeah, it keeps rejecting the 4-hour 200s. See? One here, one here, one here. They're all printing lower highs. But this higher low is really holding it together. Okay. Honestly, I'm gonna remove this 12-hour level because the 12-hour level is more like around 666 to 67. So it's really matching with the 4-hour at the moment because you guys can see here with these wicks over here, right? Um, let's see what we got here on daily. We had daily level didn't change. We need to print a higher high, get above the 50s, but you guys can see here the 34 kept rejecting. The 3-day 84, 85, still the same level, still hasn't gone up above the 34 and 50. The weekly, yeah, the 200 MA and the 34 MA are at the same level at 106, so there is confluence there. That's where the weekly needs to get above. But I think it's gonna struggle to get above it. I honestly, I'll just pay attention to these levels. So if we lose the 4-hour, if we start trading below 66 on the 4-hour and 12-hour when we close, that's your signal. Okay, get the fuck out. It's not looking good. If we continue to hold that level and we close the daily above 76, we make a higher high, that starts opening up the door for some, good price action. That could take us to 106. That's if, again, let me remove these EMAs you guys can see here. Like, it really makes sense to me. This is where rejected. There's a lot of price action here. Get above here, and I think we can start talking about filling up some of this gap. Right? Close to 100. If not, just slightly above 100, but take it level by level. Ultimately, when I look at the monthly, yeah. Look, all I gotta say is we're gonna look back at this, and it's either we're gonna be so, like, if you're bullish on Solana, it's either you're gonna be really fucking happy that you bought, or you're gonna hate your fucking life that you bought. This really could play out in two ways. Um, I mean, here's the first Litecoin. Let me grab. No, I need more. Like this. Here's the first Litecoin cycle, 2013. Second Litecoin cycle. Okay. Here's the third double top. And on the fourth, didn't do anything. Solana's entering its third. Let's see XRP. I'm looking for alts that actually had. So this was his first cycle. It was weak. Second cycle was epic. Third cycle didn't break all-time high. Then the fourth is when we finally broke it. Doge. Launched the first cycle. Second cycle, it was the third cycle where it cooked. Fourth cycle, it was disappointing. So Doge had two shitty first cycles compared to his second, as compared to his third. It worked out well. So XRP had a shitty first, amazing second, shitty third, amazing fourth. Litecoin, I don't know. I would say, it had three. I guess you can say it had three great cycles, really. Because this shit was like did $2 and did like went to 66. Hmm. What else? What else? What else? Let's look at ETH full cycle. This was one cycle up to 2018. This was one cycle. Second cycle. No. Yeah, this was the first, second, now the third. Yeah. I don't know. I'm more in the boat that Solana is more than likely going around here, which is like 35 to 20, maybe a little bit higher. 40, yeah, it's like a big buy area. But yeah, you're honestly, after all the coins we saw, when you compare it, um like when you look at, like, the second cycle was always the best cycle. Like Litecoin's second cycle was better than his first. XRP's second cycle was better than his first. Only ETH's first cycle was really good. Um, Solana's was really good, but Hype, we already went through the first cycle, or I like to think so. Yeah, Hype, I think, is gonna go somewhere here, to be honest. Yeah. Anyways, the other thing I want to show you guys, Zcash. Uh, big monthly divergence. Never fade a monthly divergence in crypto. They're very, like I said, monthly divergences always, I don't know, they print. Like every time BTC prints a monthly divergence, they don't do well. And Zcash looks like it's gonna print that. And Zcash looks like it's going to actually go back below $100. Like we might see $80 Zcash. All right, sorry. Yeah. Like I think Zcash will bottom potentially around here from the monthly divergence. Ansem said whiff to 100. Ansem said 600. Yeah, I mean, you guys, you have to understand what look. Unfortunately, a lot of traders start going into marketing, and the best form of marketing is to tell someone that don't sell this is going, and you put an insane price target and you start selling. He took the Arthur Hayes playbook. He took the Arthur Hayes playbook. And I'll show you an example. This is I'm not talking shit about the project. The project is the project. I'm not talking about the project, by the way. But he gave literally a fucking thesis, wrote a fucking article, and said, I am so fucking bullish on this project. I think it's going to $4. Fucking, he gave it a $4 price target. And I shit you not, maybe 1 day, 2 days later, guess what happened? They found a transaction of his where he took a large sum of cards, he sent it to an OTC desk and market maker to start selling at around $2 million of this token he's bullish on. Right after he said it's going to $4, and it's literally at 22 cents. Like if it pumped to $2 and he sold, we were like, okay, whatever, you know. But he literally tweeted it on this wick 33, and he's been just selling slowly ever since then through his OTC and market maker and all that crap. So I can be like, hey, don't sell your hype. It's going to $1,000, and then hype tops at 300 or whatever, and you see it hit 300 and you want to sell, but you're like, bro, but Mo said it's going to 1,000. I'm gonna hold. You know how much I can make in 1,000? Yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, yeah, Pookie. There's an OTC for everything in crypto, memes, whatever. Doesn't mean you'll get filled at the price that you ask for, but Nansen tweeted about it and exposed Arthur Hayes that, hey, this fucking guy sent $2 million worth of cards to an OTC desk slash market maker to start selling his bag slowly with minimal slippage so he can get the fuck out. Right? So they post, a lot of these traders post these insane targets to, it's a psychological thing. It's gonna fuck with your mind and it's not gonna make you sell because you're gonna be like, what if? You know how much I'm gonna make if it hits that target? They get you delusional in the wrong way, and then you don't sell. And then it retraces 90%, and you start crying and you hate yourself and you start calling crypto a scam, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But that's because you listen to someone that uses his followers as exit liquidity. But yeah, I mean, look, they gave him 60% of the supply for, like, look, the Black Bull, 60% of the supply went to him. Almost 18,000 holders. Look, let me hit a refresh. 19,000 holders, 60% of the supply to him. Top 100 holders hold 88% of the supply. So 18,980 holders are trading and battling for the remaining 11.37% of the fucking supply. That's fuck. Yeah, this is why people are sick of the trenches. This is why. Like, this is literally why people hate meme coins. This is why people hate us. This is why people hate crypto. Because of shit like this. They don't give a fuck. They just extracted hundreds of $1,000s in a bear market. They don't give a fuck. Because you guys will forget about it by next week. And then they'll run it again a few months later. So, what? And they'll run it when there's new people coming in. And it doesn't actually help that Now X has changed the algorithm where if you want to get into crypto, you are suggested to follow these guys who are using their followers as exit liquidity. So we are it's a really fucked situation to be in if you're new into crypto. If you're old, if you've been in crypto for a while, you know how to avoid it and not get burnt. But yeah, when there's like what 19,000 almost 19,100 holders and 100 wallets are holding 88 percent 89 88% of the supply, that's a problem. That is actually a problem. But yeah, let's look at some alts. So if you guys want me to look at any of your alts, let me know. And by the way, this is the reason why I'm creating perp flow. You guys notice that, like, the latest example was Aave. Like, let me pull this shit up for you guys. Okay. Aave started popping on perp flow around here first time. That was before the news came out. And it was telling us to look for longs, and then over here the news came out that Kraken whatever. That's the whole point. There is going to be insiders in every fucking market. There's always gonna be this, always gonna be that, and you want to understand it when the flows are coming in. But then when the news comes out, you're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? Now it makes sense why this happened. Now you guys understand why Alve pumped because there was the Kraken headlines that came out. All right, and that's why I created perp flow, or I am creating perp flow is to actually um show people where the money's flowing before it becomes obvious. Now it's much harder to do it for on-chain trading because in on-chain trading it's like there's a lot of bundling and all that type of shit that's happening, and it's like an on-chain trading versus perp trading, only 1% of the meme coins make it to Dex screener, and only like 0.2% of all meme coins make it past the million market cap. To create a tool for that is pretty much useless because we only see the winners, but we don't see the losers. Whereas on a centralized exchange, you rarely see what you see on chain. All right, so let's see here. You guys, DRV, is that meme coin by any chance? Derive, wait, I found it. It's fairly new. Honestly, it has 10% of the market. Wait, 9 million FTV? How? The fuck? So 124 wallets hold 90% of the supply, and there's 36,000 holders for this DRV. I mean, honestly, looks bundled. Not trying to be a dick. It looks bundled because majority is. 1 second. Some of this. Yeah. I would have to do a little bit more research on this, but I've always wanted to find a nice options platform. Just to dabble here and there. But yeah, you need to just be careful a little bit because it does look bundled, not gonna lie, just based off the stats. Um, let's see here. How did he find it when he traded on there? Yeah, I'm gonna try it out the platform, but I probably won't buy the token, to be honest with you. I want to see the options on it. But yeah, I'll check it out. Let's see, there's a meme. Let's see here. This dog, not gonna lie, the dog is pretty cute. The dog is pretty cute. I fuck with the dog. Pretty cute dog. I mean, a lot less bundled than the other shit. Damn. Why did the, like, why did it transfer to all these wallets? It feels like a plan. Like, it's such a good idea. But such a good idea. And it's less bundled than the others. Yeah, this is a much better map. Yeah, this one is cleaner because there's a few wallets, yeah, working, sure, but it's a lot cleaner when you compare to DRV. That was like heavy supply concentrated. Like this guy owns just one wallet, 10% of the supply. Cluster. He has $1 million. Yeah, see? This is where it gets really confusing. That's for DRV. Now you compare it to damn. Like this map looks like everyone is in a big fucking orgy fucking each other. Like there's some swingers party and everyone brought their boyfriend and girlfriend and they're all just like fucking each other, taking turns. That's what this bubble map looks like, honestly. Like this is like horrendous. And they like it looks like everyone that's holding is in on it. Like I get if the main creator, dev, whatever, gave him 60% of the supply, but like the majority of the supply is all connected to him. 1% here, 2% there, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and then you got these little faint dots out. Like, yeah, of course it's gonna pump. It's really easy to pump something when only 10% of it is in the market, when the majority is being held. But yeah, um, the other thing, by the way, pay attention to, funding is still positive and going up. Binance funding is negative, Bybit is negative, but everywhere else is positive. ETF, by the way, outflows. With BTC saw $1 billion worth of over $1 billion worth of outflows last week. And that wasn't even the biggest day of outflows. Let's see what else. What else? What else? What else? Let's look at some alts. Let me close some of this shit. Pump and dump. Oh, Rave. Rave is back on the menu. Okay. These charts get so fucked because of these EMAs and whatnot. Because they rug them so hard. This looks like it's been like waiting to explode. Because it's just been consolidating. Velvet is back. Look at that. Okay. Like this. Let's look at meme coin. This one keeps showing up, by the way. This one still hasn't failed. Nice. So this one might be worth buying. One more high. I don't think there is a lot of long opportunities now. Everyone's like really cooked. Like, mm, like Kato has been pumping, but I feel like it's near the end and you're just catching the scalp of it. Mm-hmm. Actually, you might retrace back, and that might be worth the long. So I'm just gonna keep it for now to check on it. Fuck this. IPU. Yep. Jiro has been non-stop popping on the scanner, by the way. Non-stop. Avio is another options platform on base, by the way. Bill. Um, there's nothing here. Everything is still looks like shit. Well, not everything, sorry. This one looks like it's more gonna go for lower high pump. Hmm. Funny how the pump fund shows up. This one's hanging right on support. Mm-mm. Damn, Zero Bro. Alright, let's go over it real quick. Yeah, so Didex, you kind of want to wait for a pullback before getting in. Same with Rave, especially if this hourly closes red. A lot of them will probably just wait for the pullback around futures opening. And keep an eye on the latest scans, see if they show up, because the latest scan is going to come up in like 30 minutes. See if these alts show up, because they look like they just had a weekend pump and they need to retrace. Yeah. All right. Let's look at some shorts. Yeah. Makes sense. Sense. Yeah. Short my angel investment. Okay. Yeah. All of them look like they're gonna go lower, to be honest. Anyways, that's enough charting for today. Let me see here. Yeah, it is. But honestly, it's been showing up on the scanner for a really long time now. I fuck. I think it's been showing up. The Cheeto has been on the scanner since here, since 30-40 cents, and it's been not like it done 100x move. Let me see here. Just 1 second. I don't know if you guys can. Let me see if you guys can see what I see. Anyways, I put it in the chat for you guys. Anyways, um, let me see here the comments. When when can we get access to Perflow? It's still in work in progress. I mean, I'll give you guys like we're still working on the homepage, working on the docs and all that stuff, working on the audit. Still a lot of things in the works because I want to expand it potentially to have a web app. So just like a quick view, this is potentially what we're gonna go with the homepage. Let me know what you guys think. So let me know your feedback. This is just the homepage and all that stuff. We're gonna I already created some of the documentation. So I'll explain like the methodology, like the signals, the tiers, the labels, all that type of stuff for you guys. Um, the conviction score, how it comes together, and all that type of stuff. The flow search, what does it mean, all these labels, the bias and structure, and how it picks things. Is going to be explained to you. As well, how to read the report is going to be explained. The scans and whatnot. All of that is going to be explained here. As you guys can see, everything's being written out for you guys. This is just for the Telegram side. How to use the scan, like scan a ticket and order flow function is all here in details for you guys. How the 24/7 monitor works at the moment, um, and what type of things do we look for. The charting function, all over here. I mean, this is something that started out just with a very simple thing, and look where we are. The commands that are available, and the performance reports, how to read it, like the daily, uh, the weekly, the monthly, the yearly, and all that stuff. I have a FAQ and glossary set up. So right now it's a Telegram native scanner for perps, whatnot, every 4 hours. It gets scanned, pushes, scores them where Autoflow is building conviction, and sends the results to your chat. But at the same time, this is just the early version. We're gonna have a web app potentially for you guys. So yeah, it covers all the main perps on Hyperliquid, Esther, for in terms of crypto, and in terms of traditional finance, equities and whatnot. We look at Hyperliquid HIP3 perps because Trade XYZ has the most liquidity when it comes to crypto. Well, has the most liquidity for TradFi on crypto. Sorry. So yeah, everything is written out and everything, but it just needs a little bit of time, guys. A little bit more time because at the end of the day, um, when I'm building this, I'm putting my name on it, and I care about my name and what I'm presenting to everyone, and I want to make sure I present a product that I would use myself, that I would use every day. This was the whole point of me creating this, was this is a tool that I wanted for myself, and I want to now, okay, give it out to the world, but I want to make it much better than what it actually is, and I care about that. So for me, I go through every detail, everything. I don't want to half-ass the launch or any of that. There's like, I have certain expectations of myself that I want to fulfill, and yeah, I think realistically speaking, we may be looking at a full out launch and onboarding a good amount of users for beta testing, probably somewhere late in the summer or even after the summer, because we still have to build the web app part and all that stuff. So, and after building the web app, it's not that easy. I need to ensure that it's fast enough and all that type of thing. So, like, some of the functions do take like 30 seconds to pop because it needs to scan all the data. But, and that's just with like me and like a handful of people. So, I'm just imagining um what would it be like if there was 100 people using it and so forth and all that type of stuff. So I want to make sure that those things don't happen early on, because as soon as you in crypto, you get one chance honestly to launch a product. If you launch it, if you launch it wrong, no one will pay attention anymore. So I want to make sure I launch it right, give you guys something that's actually useful that you guys will enjoy. I do have some surprises that I didn't share with you guys that I'm still discussing and trying to work out and thinking about and how to make it happen. So yeah, hopefully this will be something great for everyone, and that you guys can enjoy and make money out of. That's the whole point. I want to give you guys something that will make you money, that will make me money, that will make everyone money, that will make our jobs as traders and investors easier and all that type of stuff. That's the whole point of this, right? And I keep showcasing time and time again that it, like, everything is priced in, but the flow isn't. So I gave you guys the example of Aave. You saw the flows coming in. It wasn't the flows coming in. We're pricing in the news that was coming in. And then when the news came in, it got priced in. So the saying is, everything is priced in, but the flow isn't. All right. So before I end the stream, guys, the thing is, like, I don't know what happened, but like a lot of like real life friends and everything, I've been realizing that the struggle is fucking real. Like, honestly, across the world, the struggle is real. I had a friend that went on a vacation and came back home. Roommate was gone, and they got robbed for all their furniture, and like they didn't even know what the fuck to do. Right? The struggle is real. Honestly, guys, this is really the perfect time to work on yourself, because the world has slowed down. Everyone has slowed down. Everyone is like mentally chaotic and all that stuff. I'm I've mentally speaking, I haven't been um so clear and focused and like no anxiety, no bullshit, nothing's really bothering me. Nothing. Even though I'm not making as much money as before. So it's it's not about the money that I'm making. A lot of people tie their financial situation to their mental health. But just try your best not to associate your mental health with the money that you have in your bank account. Like, it's really important. Like, your value doesn't come from how much money you have. Your value comes from how who you are when times are tough and people need you. Um, who you are when your family needs you. Who you are when your friends need you. That's, believe me, that's way more valuable than the money in your bank account, right? Your character and what you stand for, your morals and your ethics and all that stuff, that matters a lot more. So um don't be an asshole to people just because your money is down. I know times are tough, but really, it's gonna get better. I promise you, things are gonna get better, and you have survived every single problem in your life, and you have moved forward, and you still made progress, and nothing has really set you back. So you need to try to eliminate the thought of it's over and realize, hey, this is just a higher low in my life, and everything is gonna get better. And sometimes, like, I learned this, I didn't share this with you guys. Sometimes, like, doors have to be closed for better opportunities to come into your life. And even like me last year, I know a lot of you guys took hits on 1010, but for me, I took my big hit in March, right? And like late February, between February and March, where I took two big hits in my training career and in my investment career, right? One, the ironic part, the February hit came on the day of my birthday, and it was because of the tariff dump and everything, right? That was a big hit, and it was like a six-figure loss for me just off that. The second one came in my business, like my business and my investments and whatnot, where a client owed my business, like, it was, I'm talking about, I was dealing with the biggest and oldest company in Canada, and they were my client, and they owed me and my brother a substantial amount of money, and they went bankrupt. And it's all over the news, by the way. You can look it up. It's all over the news. Um, but yeah, that's, I took my own hits, and no one fucking knew. No one fucking knew. Because why the fuck do you need to know? And why is my value as a human being tied to taking financial hits, right? If we all think that way, then nobody has any value on this world except for the 0.1%. So don't tie your value to your money, because you can always make money. That's the beauty of it. You can always make money. You won't, it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. But don't sell out your friends, don't sell out your family, don't sell out the people that mean a lot to you just because you are in a bad financial position. Your position financially is temporary, and it always gets better. It always gets better. There, guys, money is a fucking whore. You need to put it in your mindset. And the problem is, everyone is trying to wife it. You cannot wife a whore. Money is a whore, and it has trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of baby daddies. And guess what? Everyone across the world is fucking that bitch, and they have it in her pocket. And here you are trying to wife something that everyone is fucking. Your neighbor's fucking, your friends are fucking it, your dad is fucking it, your mom is fucking it, and you're trying to marry it. Don't, money's a whore. It'll keep multiplying. The money is there. It'll always be there. It's not gonna go away. So stop trying to marry a whore and start thinking that this whore should be working for me. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna end the stream for you guys. We're gonna have a great fucking week. We have the monthly close coming up, and we got the month, and not just monthly close, quarter two close coming up. Quarter three is opening up. So I expect quarter three to potentially open up with a pump. So keep a lookout for that, especially the end of month like bullshit that happens. But I think as well the early Q3 pump will be something to trap people in, because we are entering a deep and serious Mercury retrograde starting tomorrow, and it won't end till July 23rd. And then between July 23rd till August 11 is when we will probably have a decent, somewhat, we should have somewhat of a decent pump up until the solar eclipse and Ghost Month starting. And you guys remember my saying, a return to the base when it comes to Ghost Month. So as we get closer to Ghost Month, let's start marking out the bases, figure out where we're going to return, and we'll take it from there. But ultimately, early October till end of the year, we're going to bottom out and we start accumulating. Thank you guys for joining, and let's have a great fucking week. Take care, everyone.